Hello and welcome to the Awaken Feminine podcast. I'm your host, KaKi Lee, a mindset coach and healer who is on a mission to share the love and wisdom of inspiring women from around the world who have gone through adversity and turned their pain into purpose. Today, I am delighted to be interviewing certified holistic wellness coach, Beth McLenahan, who I know has so much love and wisdom to share. Do I have you there, Beth?
Hey Kaki, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me on the Awaken Feminine podcast.
I'm so excited to talk to you, Kaki.
Awesome. So before we get started, can you share a little bit more about you and what you do and where you're joining me from?
Yeah, well, I'm all the way over in England, so it's middle of the afternoon over here, and I know it's sort of getting late for you over there. I'm in England, and I'm 4 days a week. I'm a teacher, secondary school teacher, but I'm also a holistic wellness coach. And I specialise in helping working mums to lose weight naturally. That's my passion. That's why I absolutely love doing. And ultimately, that's why I'm here with you. But as I said, 4 days a week, I'm also a secondary school teacher, and I've always taught PE, and now I've moved up into foods. I teach cooking. So, wellness and health and fitness, it's always been in my background. I've always loved it. So this was a natural progression for me.
Love that. Awesome. So for people that have been listening or watching the podcast, you probably always hear me talk about this group of women's coaches that I'm in this mastermind with, and Beth is one of those beautiful souls that I'm so lucky to be connected with. So we've only actually been in the group for about 2 months, but I feel like we've known each other for like ever.
I know, it's such a fab, and it's such a valuable group, isn't it, to have each other to bounce ideas off and get advice and see what you're all up to. It's brilliant, and we're all over the world, aren't we?
We are
fun.
all over the
Really
world.
fun.
Yeah, I think pretty much, well, definitely nearly every continent.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
awesome.
right.
So Beth, I know you just shared with us that you're a teacher 4 days a week and you're also now a wellness coach. Can you share with us whether you had like a spiritual awakening or an aha moment that led you, to move into this coaching space?
I think it was, I've obviously been through this quite a few times in my head. When you're on this journey, you do question why you're on it so much. You're always thinking of why are you doing this? What happened to get you here? And there were it's probably numerous things. The biggest one really was probably because my own health was suffering. Probably really in terms of mental health. I was a teacher, head of 2 departments actually at school, and I had young children, and obviously I'm always into fitness and health, so I'm obviously trying to keep myself fit, going to the gym, training for half marathons. Got 2 young children, trying to cook meals from scratch at home, do everything, the normal sort of thing, head all over the place, and just really, really busy. And then didn't realise it. Looking back now, just absolutely exhausted, burned out, and I was, I just looking back now, I think, oh my goodness, why did I not do anything about it sooner? But something happened at work that made me. I had to ask my colleagues for quite a lot of help, and I know there's nothing wrong with that, but I really couldn't do something that I should have been able to do, and it was because I was spread so thinly trying to do everything for not everyone else, but trying to do so many different things that I really wasn't focused on my work properly, and I didn't do this task, and it almost, I feel like it just overwhelmed me, became way too much. And it really, like, I'm so thankful for it now looking back, because it gave me a massive kick up the bum. It made me physically ill, and I've been teaching for 20 years, and I can pretty much count the number of days I've had off sick on one hand. And this made me ill. I took a day off, and I just laid on the sofa exhausted and just crying all day. And I thought, look, something's got to change. I've really got to sort myself out for the sake of my mental health, for the sake of the family. And that was when I sort of stepped down from responsibilities at work and made a change in that respect. But there was also kind of around the same time I got really interested in just after that, got really interested in natural health to see what I could do. There were a few ailments with my couple of my two of my children, or my two children. One of them had sort of wheezy with asthma, one of them had a bit of eczema. My husband had like just sort of ear infections and chronic sinusitis all the time. And so I was just really sort of researching natural health, started listening to podcasts, and just really educated myself on natural health, natural wellness, and holistic health, and got sort of really, really into it, changed our diet from typical 3 meat meals a day, you know, and to sort of pretty much plant-based. And just focused on our family's health and how much I was doing as a mum and as a, you know, a teacher and everything like that. Took a few steps back and took a 3,000-foot view of my life, basically, and changed. So as I say, it was like a number of all those sort of combinations kind of fit into one place. And then I realised that I was so passionate about learning about natural health and wellness. And I said, never even heard of wellness coaches or health coaches, didn't really know what they did or anything like that. But when I heard a podcast sort of talking about them, I thought, oh, that's actually something I could do. I reckon I could do that. Yeah, I loved learning about it, and I just threw myself into it. And here I am. Yeah, just absolutely have loved the journey, and I just thank my lucky stars every single day for what I went through, because it's put me into this situation now. You know, it's got me where I am and made me who I am. Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell. Did I answer your question? I waffled on there a bit.
You definitely did answer my question. And I loved your story. And there's so many women out there who, you know, myself, I've got 2 young kids, as you know, just getting burnt out, but not actually realizing that when you become a mum and you're also working, you put all your energy into other people, but not yourself. You just forget about looking after yourself. And the fact, you know, for you got to that point where you just got so overwhelmed with a particular task that you went, what is wrong with me? So it's just and it's so great.
I remember one time we've got a little lake, and so this was a few years ago, and we were just kind of, my husband was working down there all the time to kind of make it into a nice fishing lake, so he was down there all the time. And one weekend, it was a Sunday, and up, you know, I'd always bring work home, work all weekend. I'd all this marking, all this planning to do, and he was like, right, come down the lake, let's spend some time as a family. But all I felt was guilt and anxiety, because I was stepping away from my work, leaving the pile of books at home that I should be marking or whatever. And I felt guilty and anxious about spending time with the family. And when we got down to the lake, the kids were like, oh, Mum, can we build a den? Can you help us build a den? You know, they were quite young then. And my husband was too busy doing whatever he was doing on the lake. So it was down to me to knock up a den, you know, put some branches around. But I just was exhausted. I just sat down and I cried, and I was just crying. And I, you know, people don't understand. Other people don't understand. Well, my husband had never been in that situation. He didn't really know what was going on. He's the sort of person really unhelpfully that would say, come on, snap out of it, you're right, you know, just get going, you know. Or he'd say, well, just relax then. Well, just sit there then, don't do anything then. Thinking he's being nice, not making me do it. And I just felt so guilty. I was just crying, like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just play with my kids? Yeah, I had no energy. I just, you know, and that was just one of many occasions at the weekend. And it was just, it's horrid, isn't it?
And bless the husbands, they try their best, but sometimes you're like, you're not being helpful here, right?
It's very black and white, isn't it, sometimes?
But it's so true. You know, when I was going through my journey, I was crying like every night, and it was like, why? I don't even understand why I was crying, right? It was just, I just felt so helpless. And my husband's like, I don't know, he didn't know how to help, and the things that came out of his mouth.
They just want to fix it. They just want to fix it, don't they? That's what men like. They just want to fix. They see a problem, they're very analytical. They just want to fix it.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why there's so many more women coaches, because women are much more naturally. And I don't want to be stereotypical, because it probably is a bit of a generic statement. Obviously, there's always going to be outliers.
Yeah.
But women are so much more just there to kind of empathize, you know, just listen and just be a sounding board and understand,
Yeah.
aren't they? And men just want to fix things, bless them,
Yeah.
which is brilliant sometimes, obviously, but
Exactly. And it's you know, it's that feminine energy of, you know, being the mother, being the nurturer that we have.
mm-hmm.
And guys is the masculine, logical, like, you know,
Yeah,
fix
yeah,
things and, you know, get these things done. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I know you specialize in weight loss for busy women or busy mums. So what was the
Mm-hmm.
catalyst that made you decide to actually focus on that particular, I guess, subject?
Yeah, because you know, first when I was training as a wellness coach, it was probably more likely going to be sort of stressed out moms, you know, and there is a massive need for that, demand for that,
Yeah.
huge demand. But for me, with such a passion around food and around fitness, I think naturally I fell into you know, wanting to get people fit and healthy, and I want to get people strong, and I want to get people active, and I love being active myself. You know, I love exercise. I love the way it makes me feel. I love either working out at home or going to the gym, working out with mates, whatever. I love, you know, jogging, CrossFit, swimming. I just really enjoy that, and I think naturally I would attract people that have seen me be active, and they sort of want a bit of that. They're like, oh, you know, look how active she is, or look how positive she is with
Yeah.
all her activity. And so I think I naturally attract women that want to lose weight because they, you know, they know that exercise and eating right is, and obviously we both know that's not the whole story,
Yeah.
but a lot of women that want to lose weight realize, you know, often think it is just exercise and diet. So
Yeah.
they come to me because they think I'm the expert in exercise and diet. Well, you know, and then obviously we educate them more about the holistic approach and how it is, and it actually is a lot to do with stress. So a lot of those mums that come to me for weight loss, but actually they're also really stressed. You know, they're busy, they're working mums, most of
Yeah.
them, and so stress does play a massive role anyway.
Yeah. And well, as you say, it's not just about the physical aspect of just eating and exercise. It's a lot to
Yeah,
do with the mindset, which is,
yeah,
you know, what you would also do with your clients. And it's so
yeah,
important to have the physical and also the mindset work together, because it really, as you say, the stress is, I think the stress a lot of times is the thing that hinders us from actually taking that physical action. So sorting
mm,
out that stress, that's kind of that feedback loop, right? To
yeah,
so that you stop it, so then you can go on and take the action to go and exercise and eat healthily.
yeah. And it's about clarity as well. You know, when you're stressed and you're in the middle of, like we said earlier, you know, when you're in that state where you're just totally exhausted, you can't see it. You
Yeah,
don't realize what the problems are. You can't see the wood for the tree, so to speak, can you? So
yeah,
it's so helpful to have someone like, this is your priority. This is what we need to do first. Then we need to do this, and we need to do that. It's like, oh, right, okay. So it takes the pressure off. Okay, now you know what to do. Now
yeah.
you know which way you're going. We know what's important.
Yeah, and having a coach is just so important for me with my journey. Having a
Mm,
coach has made so much difference. You can read everything in the world, but if you don't apply it and you don't
mm,
have that person shining that mirror in your
yeah,
face,
yeah,
it it just, it's a lot slower, or you
yeah,
actually don't even do the work because you just read it and you're like, oh yeah, I know all that stuff, but
yeah.
you don't actually apply it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes mums, especially, are so used to being in charge of everything in the household, and they just want someone to take care of them.
Yeah.
Just want someone to show them what to do, because they're always the ones that they organise. You know, what clubs the kids do, who's going where at what time, who's cooking dinner, or they're cooking dinner. You know, what's for dinner. They decide what's for dinner, even if someone else is cooking it.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so it's so nice. I think they find it so nice just to have someone take their hand and show them the way one, you
Yeah.
know, for, yeah,
Yeah. And just for them to have to let go of that needing to control all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Beth, having gone through all that you have, what is your personal mission? What are you here on this earth to do?
That's quite a big question, and one I've had to think quite a lot about. But it is to help other people just see the clarity, get clear on how they can get healthy and how they can get well, so that they can become healthy role models for their family and for their children. So, you know, I'd love to help as many women as I can that are overweight and feeling frumpy and feeling fed up and feeling stressed out. If I can just help the one hardworking mum, then she can have, you know, like I say, she's sort of in control of the family. You know, we were just saying that, weren't we? So they're the ones that decide what to eat. They're the ones that decide the kids' activities. And if the mum's got those healthy routines, they're a role model. They're a good role model then for their children, for everyone around them. And, you know, it cascades down through the household. So that's my mission, is to help busy working mums so that they can be healthy role models for the rest of their family, for the rest of their lives.
Love that. And it's just so important to teach our children healthy habits so that they can, you know, keep the line going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Beth, let's get even more deep and personal with you. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you believe is the greatest lesson that you've learned so far in your life?
I think it's that no one's actually going to do anything for you. If you want something changed, you have to take the action and make it happen for yourself. Yeah, that's one thing I think I learnt when I had that almost sort of breakdown realization. I just sort of thought afterwards, why didn't I do that sooner? Why did I not, you know, get rid of those responsibilities sooner and just take the action on? What was I waiting for? Was I waiting for permission from my husband to change my role? Was I waiting for work to see that I was failing and say, Beth, you need to step down? What was I waiting for? Just, you know, if you want change, you got to take action yourself. No one's going to do it for you.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we fall into this, I guess, a bit of victim mentality where you don't take responsibility for your life because, as you were saying, do I need permission? Well, no, you don't, right?
Yeah.
You're the person that is responsible for you and no one else is. So yeah, I love that. So yeah, so you've touched on really the events that allowed you to learn that. Was there anything else that really allowed you to really realize that that is so important to be responsible for yourself?
I think possibly that that I've got children, that I'm a mother, and I want to see them see me happy and healthy and looking after myself and in charge and not stressed out and not feeling like I'm not in charge of my own life. One of my biggest fears is getting to the end of my life and feeling regret, and I'm sure everybody feels like that. You know, that's why there's sort of bucket lists or whatever, but I just feel that I don't want to get to the end of my life and feel like I wish I'd done this or wish I'd done that. So I think probably age, you know, I'm in my 40s now, so got to the stage where if I don't do something with my life, I feel at that age, if I don't do it now, am I going to be too old to do it? And I'm sure I've got a good few years yet, but I want to change and I want to enjoy that change for a good few years. You know, I want to be a good coach and I want to enjoy that for a good few years to come, and I want to be successful and I want to help lots of people. So I think, age is a factor as well, and having young people looking up to me. I think we're all too quick to tell our kids, you know, they've got to go to university, but you know, and that's the route that I took. I did A-levels, I went to university, became a professional, but I've realised as well that that's not the way the world is going anymore, really. And possibly, I don't know if this is controversial, is that a bit old-fashioned, is that controversial? I don't know. You know, there's so much more out there now, isn't there? And I want to open up the world really to my children to see what else is out there as well.
I love that, and I resonate so much with that because I'm the same, especially coming from an Asian background where my parents are like, you need to you need to go to uni, get a degree, get married, have kids, and keep working in this really good job as a professional because my dad is a chef and they used to have their own restaurant and they view that as inferior. So they people that have a degree as superior. So it was so important for them, like, to make us get that degree. But I mean, I'm a pharmacist and it's been a great career, but it's not my passion, right?
Yeah,
And there's
same,
and as you say, there's so much out there nowadays. There's kids that make millions on YouTube, right?
oh, totally. Yeah. So much money.
Yeah. And
Ridiculous amounts.
there's nothing wrong with that, because those kids, a lot of those kids that, well, young people, I shouldn't say kids, they make money and they are actually providing a service to people. They're entertaining people. Or I know there's this young man who actually teaches people how to make money online, and he's like 19 or something, and
Oh,
he's learning, he's doing YouTube videos to teach people how to make money online. I mean, come
I
on.
know. It's
So
crazy.
there's
It's
so
crazy.
much out there. There's people like young kids programming, and you don't need to go to university to make something out of yourself. I
You
mean, look
don't
at
anymore.
Richard
No.
Branson as well. Richard Branson,
Yeah.
he didn't finish school, and
Yeah.
he's he's a
Yeah.
multi-millionaire or
Very
billionaire.
rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
But it's not all about money either, is it? You know, I want to show my kids that as long as you're enjoying what you do, well, that
yeah,
what they say, if you love your work, you'll never have to work a day in your life, will you?
yeah,
Because you'll just be doing something that you love.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Beth, with everything that you've gone through, what are some of the tools or teachers that were really helpful in your healing process?
The biggest change for me was podcasts,
Wow.
because I started, I have sort of 45-minute drive to work every day. So it's an hour and a half I'm in the car. And I used to listen to the radio. And then I discovered, what podcast did I listen to? Have you heard of Rich Roll? You must have
No.
done. Okay. Rich Roll, oh my goodness, amazing podcast host. And he's plant-based. Anyway, he was interviewing someone called Dr. Zach Bush,
Mm-hmm.
who is just fascinating, and it made me just so keen. I can't remember what it was about the microbiome, and it was just fascinating, this podcast. And then I started listening to more of Rich Roll's podcasts, learned that he was plant-based, and then I was listening to more plant-based podcasts, listened to another one with an interview with a guy called Dr. Stephen Cabral. And so now I listen to Dr. Stephen Cabral every single day. He puts out a half-hour podcast every single day, like
Wow.
7 days a week. His brain is incredible, and he is all about holistic. You know, what he doesn't know about natural health is just not worth knowing. So I listen to him all the time. So I'm flooding myself.
Yeah.
You know, when we had that chat a little while ago, do you remember when we talked about you're the sum of the people you surround yourself with most?
Yes.
So I was just
Yeah.
thinking, I just listened to Stephen Cabral every single day. He's always in my head.
Yeah.
You know, so it's natural health all the time. And him and Rich Roll, who has some really interesting guests on, and a guy called Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, who's a British doctor, and he's all really into natural health now. He's a medical doctor, you know, GP,
Yeah.
but he's really into sort of lifestyle medicine, lifestyle health.
Yeah.
And so really between, you know, just listening to podcasts for, you know, up to an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, and then when I'm going jogging and things like that, it changed my whole outlook on life, because there'll be all these motivational podcasts as well. It's not just all about nutrition, it's about mindset obviously as well, and exercise and lifestyle guidance. And I've learned so much for myself, and I've learned, you know, and hopefully that knowledge that I've gathered is that I'm going to be able to share that with clients.
Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that. And it's so
without
important.
overloading them.
Yeah. And it's so important to feed your brain. I love that you were feeding your
Oh my
brain
goodness,
with
yeah.
just good stuff. It just
Yeah.
makes such a difference from listening to the radio to listening to podcasts. I haven't listened to the radio for probably a few years now. And my thing is also podcasts and audiobooks.
Audiobooks. Yeah, I've just re-listened to another one actually of Dr. Mark Hyman, and he's a functional medicine doctor in America, but he's awesome as well, because it's all about lifestyle, you know, and healthy food. And yeah, I love it. I love learning, and I got that love for learning back, which well, when I say I got it back, I don't actually think I ever really had it. I
Yeah.
never found anything, you know, even when I was doing my A levels and university, I loved PE at school, and I really enjoyed learning about PE through GCSE and A level. But when I got to university, it wasn't my passion, really. You know, I did it and I enjoyed it, but I was just sort of going through the motions. But now over the last few years, I've realised how much actually I love learning about natural health and
Yeah.
lifestyle medicine. I just, I love it.
It's just so beautiful when you find something that just lights you up and makes you feel so much joy, right?
Totally, yeah.
So, is there a book that changed your life?
There probably isn't a book that changed my life, if I'm really honest.
Yeah.
But the podcasts, I mean, I can't just mention one either, I don't think.
Yeah.
It would be probably Dr. Stephen Cabral, and he has actually got a book out. He has a book out, but it'd be the podcasts, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
Stephen Cabral, Rich Roll, and Dr. Chatterjee. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so, Beth, if you could time travel and go back to, say, a younger version of yourself, what advice would you give yourself?
I think I would, like we said earlier, take the bull by the horns and go for it. You know, nothing's going to change. Um, Nothing's going to change for you unless you change it. Although, having said that, I really do believe that I've been through everything I've been through for a purpose.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't necessarily tell myself to change anything, I don't think, because, you know, I'm here. I'm so grateful for my teaching experience. I'm so grateful for the experience of going through the stress and the anxiety and the worry and the, you know, whatever else, and the struggles, because it's really taught me what other people feel, and it's taught me to be compassionate to others, and understand how they're feeling so I can help them more. And I think that's really, really valuable. And I'd like to say that I don't think I would change it, even though it was horrible at the time.
Yeah. But yeah, it is. It's always not great at the time, but when you connect the dots, it makes a lot of sense of why you had
Yeah,
to go
yeah,
through what you had to go
yeah,
through, right? Yeah. So I
yeah.
guess trusting the journey is,
Mm,
something that um
that's
is
probably what
important.
that's
Yeah.
probably what I would say is trust the
Yeah.
journey. You know, everything's going to work
Yeah.
out. Um, it's all for a reason, because I think half of those feelings of anxiety and overwhelm is the dread that that's what it's going to be like for the rest of your life, and there's no way out of it.
Yeah.
If you know there's going to come a time where it's going to end, or it's going to be much better than it is now, then that's much more uplifting, isn't it? It's so
Yeah.
uplifting to know that, to have that hope. So yeah, that's probably what I would say is don't stress. It's not going to last forever. It'll get
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah. Trust the journey. You'll you'll
Yeah,
you'll get out of it, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Love that. So, Beth, there's a lot of change in the world this year, as you probably know. Lots of crazy things happening in the world. So people are pivoting and, really waking up to really take a look at what their life is like at the moment and changing it,
Mhm.
and just waking up. So what advice would you have for people that to get rid of any limiting beliefs or any fear that is holding them back from making that change or taking that first step to, on their journey?
Mm. Yeah. Um, yeah, the mindset work is just so important, isn't it? It's I heard an amazing analogy about it the other day, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to remember it, but if you believe, like, if you look around and you see this room is, I don't know how big this room is, 100 square foot or something
Yeah.
like that, then you know the room is 100 square foot, and you'd be like planning what you could do in that room. Well, it's only a small room, so I could be on a podcast in this room, or I could, sit and have a couple of friends in here, have a cup of tea in here. Maybe I could play with my kids on the floor, a bit of Lego or something. And you've got the limitations because you know how big it is. But if you believe that's all your mind is capable of, if you believe that yourself, you as a person, is limited like that, you've got walls around you, then you don't plan for anything bigger. And I totally stole that analogy from somebody else, and I can't remember who it was now. Probably it was on Dr. Chatterjee's podcast. I'll have to try and let you know so you can write it down, because I totally stole his analogy. But I thought it resonated with me, because if you believe that that is all you are capable of, you don't plan for anything bigger, because you can't see the bigger picture. But if you get out of that box, so to speak, and really try and see what is out there in the bigger picture, and what maybe, possibly, potentially, you could achieve with a little bit of help, with a little bit of support, with a little bit of vision, you can expand your horizons and maybe go for something bigger than you ever dreamed of.
Yeah, I love that. It's the fixed and growth mindset, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And just believing that you can grow and you can change, because there's a lot of people that I talk to, even back in my workplace, where they go, I've been like this for however many years and that's how I am. Well, no, you actually have a choice and you can change if you want to, right?
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
just realizing that what you potentially you can do with a bit of help and support, and I think a lot of that is maybe role models, inspiration. If people don't ever see that in their lives or around them, if they've never grown up with bigger things, bigger people doing bigger things around them, they don't know the potential that they have, possibly.
Exactly. And back to you listening to the podcast as well, and it's just feeding your brain with that growth, or different types of things that make you grow, right? To give you that different perspective and different
and
lens.
they set off sparks, don't they? And then that triggers another spark, and that triggers, actually, what if I could do that? What if that could be me?
Exactly. So Beth, I want to take a bit of a turn now. So I'm all about self-love, because that was one of my biggest lessons on my journey. So as a busy mum, I know you've got 2 kids who are quite young as well, and you've got your job teaching, and you're also a coach, so you're a busy mama. What are your top 3 go-to activities to make sure you give yourself that self-love?
Top 3. Well, it's funny, I was writing planning some content this morning, and I thought I'd do a little bit on self-care and self-love one day next week. And then I was just thinking about it, and just put simply, it's just about looking after your body, looking after your mental, your emotional, and your physical body. So for me, I exercise. I'd like to exercise every week, but every day. But now I'm back at work, it is much harder, so it's not every day at the moment, although it was through lockdown, which was great. So move your body as much as you can every day. Eat food that is going to nourish you physically and emotionally, healthy whole food. Eat real food. Move your body, and rest. They would be my top 3 things. Okay, don't make sure you are worthy of those 3 things, because a lot of the time people don't feel worthy of those 3 things. They feel guilty for resting, or they don't feel like they deserve to put themselves first.
Exactly,
as you said earlier.
And as a mum, you feel the guilt if you go and exercise. You feel that guilt of, I'm leaving my kids to spend time on my own, right? So I love that.
And it does get easier when they get older. It does get easier when they get older, because mine are at the age now where actually I can go out for an hour and they're fine on their own. But when they are younger, it is harder. But you've got to remember that you're looking after yourself for them, for their sake. Because if you're nourished, if you're well, if you're healthy, if you're mentally stable, they're going to have a much happier life. Happy mama, happy kids, isn't it?
Definitely. So Beth, I've loved our conversation today, but before we wrap up, can you share with us what it is that is setting your soul on fire right now?
So it is working with mums that are stressed, and that get some transformation, that get some success, and get those highlights, and something in them sparks, and then it's a snowball of health. One thing sets them off, and then they want to do this, and then they want to do that. And I think the main thing that sets my soul on fire is when people say to me, oh, Beth, I did this the other day, and they're telling me something healthy that they've done. Oh, Beth, I ran 5K the other day, because they know I'm, that sort of thing lights me up, oh, I cooked, look at this meal I made last night, sort of thing. I love that from my clients, and I love that even just from people that I work with, my friends, colleagues. That lights me up. I love it. I love being an inspiration to others for health and helping them on their journey.
Oh, I love that so much. It's
Mm.
so great that people look up to you and, give you those bits where they're like, I did this, and they know that you'll be so happy and so joyful from
And it
just
is
listening that
genuine,
they're doing
it's not
something.
like, oh yeah, thanks to me sort of thing. It's just a genuine, I'm sort of amazed that they want to tell me, but they obviously, I probably because I bang on about health so much that and healthy food, they're always like, oh, Beth, what have you got for lunch today?
I love that. So, Beth, thank you so much for sharing your love and wisdom with us today. And you are such an inspiration. If people want to find out more about you and where they can, how they can work with you, where should they go?
Yeah, so the best place, thank you, KaKi, and thanks for having me. It's been lovely as well. But if people are interested in finding out a little bit more about what I do, I have got a Facebook group. So it's for working mums. So it's called Working Mums Wellbeing and Weight Loss. Quite welcome to come and join that. It's about getting up to a couple of hundred members now, so it's still really nice and intimate, and we just help and support each other. I try and put up a little post every day that encourages people or challenges people, and it's a really supportive, lovely little group. I am on Instagram. I'm not so active on Instagram. It's Bethy_MC_. But I do like to post occasionally. I'm more nosy on Instagram than I am active.
I love that. Awesome, Beth. I'll have all your details and any recommended resources available in the show notes so people can reach out to you. Thank you once again.
Thanks, KaKi. I've loved it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. So until next time, I love you, I believe in you, and you are worth taking that first step to the life of your dreams.